evening, and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Keith, the constitutional conservative, Greg, Aguna's brother-in-law, Stephen, the independent thinker, and maybe Todd and Aguna might come on. We've got a packed show for you this evening. Oh my goodness, where should I start? Ukraine and the United States, they've come to a 30-day ceasefire deal. As the U.S. restores aid and intel sharing, they await the response from the Russian leaders. Speaker of the House Johnson passes a bill to avert a government shutdown and sends the bill straight to the Senate. The Department of Education lays off nearly half of its workforce today. The stock market continues to plummet. And is free speech in America a First Amendment right, not for green card holders? Canada and Mexico have different tariff plans with the U.S. as Stephen talks about NASCAR in Phoenix. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill push to end daylight savings time. Do you still want daylight savings time? Charles Barkley calls Canadians fools for breaking Wayne Gretzky's heart over Trump friendship as LeBron's ex-teammates defend him after viral argument with Stephen A. Representative Al Green blames invidious discrimination for being censored after disrupting President Trump's speech. And Bloody Sunday anniversary and the COVID-19 anniversary. We will round up our show as our roundtable with those anniversaries and more. If we can fit all of that in, I don't know how we will. First up, Stephen and NASCAR. Oh, here's Cousin Todd. Oh, hey. Hey, Cousin Todd. Sound on.
About time. Good to see you.
All right. NASCAR. Stephen, let me share the screen. I've got a little NASCAR for you at Phoenix.
Thank you, Stacey.
Let me see. Where's my NASCAR? All right, here we are.
It's like you're at the mercy of the guy below, and it's just, I knew even if I had a notes ahead, which I did in the 3, just it was going to be hard unless unless he held his line. But anybody that's trying to race for a win probably wouldn't do that. Yeah, it's so hard, especially a teammate, right? Because we could come out of here looking like fools if we don't win, the two of us, especially controlling the race on the last restart on the last lap. So it's really, really hard. But it's the first time I think I've raced kind of bell for a race win in that kind of scenario. So I just wish I was on the inside, not the outside. I'm really encouraged by this short track tire that we got, and certainly it is a game changer as far as the races that it puts on. And so hopefully we can just keep this thing on the car for the rest of the year. And if we can, it's fantastic, and it creates great racing.
I felt like being patient behind them guys, gave ourselves the best shot to win. Was hoping that Bell would get into Denny some more and maybe get them choked up even more, and I could get to their inside somewhere off of 2 or off of 4 coming the line. But it was a fun battle for my seat. Well, first off, it's extremely tough to win 2 in a row. I feel like in the next gen era, and for them to win 3 in a row is really impressive. Their team is just strong. Their race cars are really fast. Bell's a phenomenal race car driver, obviously. So, the more wins you get, the more confidence you as well as your team gets. And yeah, he's getting to go to Vegas, another track where he's stupid fast at. So, and then what is it, Homestead maybe after that? So I don't know where we go after Homestead, but I'm sure we'll be fast there as well. So,
okay day, about what I expected. Probably 15th place car on yellows and probably maybe an 8th place car on red. So never really got to see our reds play out and get a long run on them and get some long laps on them. So hard to say with that, but we were able to pick up some really good spots on some restarts with them. So that saved our day. I would say the step that we made from last year to this year was a really good step, and another major step like that, like same amount, I don't know what that number is, you know what I mean? Make up a number, but the same amount of step, if we do that again, then we can be a contender of racing for a win. So, I mean, there was a big change in how our car drove and felt, and the grip that it gave, but not enough of what I needed.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and high.
Okay, to get to the Phoenix race and who won was Christopher Bell. The guy you saw talking at first was Denny Hamlin. He's on the same team as Bell, and he was complaining that Bell wasn't treating him right because Denny's been around a lot longer than he has. Bell is a kid, but Bell has been amazing. He's won 3 out of 4 races. There's only been 4 races this year, and he's won 3 out of 4, and everybody else is just scared to death. Yeah, and Toyota in general is just dominating right now. And like Kyle Larson from a different team, he said, hey, God, we're going to go next week to Vegas where he's super fast or freaky fast or whatever he said. And then he said, next we'll go to, I can't remember, Homestead. He said he's great there too. So yeah, this has really got everybody shook up. And Stacey, I told you last week, I was going to mention, start bringing up teams and the people who drive for which teams. Well, I thought it was really appropriate this week, even though I was going to do it anyway. The Joe Gibbs racing team who's Bell is on, Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin. There's 3 cars on the team. And Chase Briscoe is good. He's about the least of them all, but he's still really, really good. He could win any 3 of these guys could win the championship. They're like 1A, 1B, 1C. Joe Gibbs has been in NASCAR since 1992. He has 5 championships in NASCAR. And the way it's going now, but the points are crazy. The way it's going now, they have a very good shot to one of these 3 guys to win at the end of the year. But the point system is so crazy, and they do a playoff, and there can be a guy just come out of nowhere and win. So it's nothing guaranteed, but it's really, really impressive, and it's really deflating for the other teams, a lot of other teams that are struggling just to keep up with this team. So we'll see how it shakes up and how they do at different tracks. But right now, they are completely dialed in, and the other teams, the Chevys and the Fords, need to catch up before, it's only 4 races in. So they will catch up. They will make adjustments. But right now, it looks really, really funky. And next week is Las Vegas, where Bell is probably, he's the 13th best there. Ross Chastain, I like him on another team I talked about last week, he's the best there at Las Vegas. He's got the best record of the last 6 races. But I think I would take Bell over him reluctantly. But eventually, Bell's luck has got to run out. But it's a lot of luck in racing, but it's also a good team and a great car, and reluctantly, he's a great driver. And I do pull for all of them on Joe Gibbs' racing team, but this is ridiculous. But it's been a good year so far, and we'll see what happens from this point on.
Thank you. I'm going to move on and share my screen. I did not mention this. I forgot to. A high school runner in track defended herself about causing a concussion to another runner. I want you to watch this video. Let me take it back. And then Keith brought it up to me. So we'll start with Keith, and then we'll go to Greg, Stephen, and Cousin Todd.
This morning, Alayla Everett, the track star at the center of that viral video showing her appearing to hit another runner in the head with the baton, is speaking out.
I would never do that on purpose. That's not in my character.
Everett says the incident is a complete misunderstanding. Other angle of the race is proof.
The baton was literally like her arm was literally hitting the baton like this until she got a little ahead and my arm got stuck like this.
In the video, Everett is seen on the inside track running the 4x200 relay at the Virginia State High School League Championships when junior Kaylin Tucker came around the outside on the corner.
That's when she hit me with the baton. I just felt a bang on my head, and then I fell off the track immediately.
Kaylin dropping her baton and reaching for her head. She was later diagnosed with a concussion.
Okay, we're going to start with Keith.
I'm going to say that, using my powers of observation from a standpoint of a martial artist, being a martial artist and one who teaches how to fight, teaches, self-defense. I would say that from the video, I saw her wind up and then strike. That was a strike. She wound up and then struck. It wasn't based on a stride, her running stride, because it went out of proportion. It overreached her running stride. So that's all I got to say. I tell you, that had to be intentional.
Okay, Greg.
I feel the same way. It looks very intentional, and I know a lot of athletes, and me being very competitive and playing sports or whatever. Sometimes you get caught up in that in the moment, and I think when she saw that girl passing her, I think she panicked and she just
Yeah.
swung. Yeah, and that's all. So she tried to come up with a new story about the angle, but I never saw her arm caught anywhere. I saw her like he said. I saw like Steven said. She caught back and swung, so that was different. So she just got caught up.
Let's see. You gotta love YouTube said hard to tell, but it does look intentional. Steven.
Yeah, I agree with Greg and Keith. It does look intentional, and to make matters worse, she's going to try to come up with an excuse or say something else happened. She's just digging it worse for herself. She should have better people around her because she's young. Older people that she was sitting with should say, let's not do that," because they can see with their own eyes as well. It's better just to take it, and then eventually people will, the shock of this, because I've never seen anything like that, with women running, or anybody running really. But when the shock of it goes away, people could say, okay, she is competitive. She lost her mind. She was momentary lapse of reason. She's super competitive. And, they can find, better. But what she's doing right now is just making it a lot worse for herself. And it's unnecessary. It was not premeditated. It was just like Greg said, she just was competitive. It just came on, and she freaked. She just freaked for a second. And that I think that would have been a better way of presenting herself in this situation.
Cousin Todd.
He's on mute.
Please make sure you all are on mute.
Okay, Stephen was saying how she just freaked and he's never seen anything like that before. And of course, his boy toy was agreeing with him, but
just has to disagree.
Well, no, you all weren't saying this last week when these white boys were beating each other senseless with ice skates on. You were giving them excuses left and right. Oh, but they can't harm each other because they're not flat-footed. And your boy toy went, well, he didn't go along with you. He said, well, they can knock their teeth out and break their bones. So he couldn't go along with you. Anyway, this is ridiculous how these two-faced turncoats, if they're black, it's a great big problem. But if they're white, they're the great white hope. So I don't know what happened actually.
Well, let me play it again. Let me play it again.
Well,
let me play it again, Cousin Todd. I want to play it again because you don't know what happened. I'm going to give you a complete opportunity to see it from the start. All right, here we go.
Alayla Everett, the track star at the center of that viral video showing her appearing to hit another runner in the head with the baton, is speaking out.
I would never do that on purpose. That's not in my character.
Everett says the incident is a complete misunderstanding, pointing to another angle of the race as proof.
The baton was literally like her arm was literally hitting the baton like this until she got a little ahead and my arm got stuck like this.
In the video, Everett is seen on the inside track running the 4x200 relay at the Virginia State High School League Championships when junior Kaylin Tucker came around the outside on the corner.
That's when she hit me with the baton. I just felt a bang on my head and then I fell off the track immediately.
Kaylin dropping her baton and reaching for her head. She was later diagnosed with a concussion.
That's pretty serious.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Concussion.
All right.
Man, Todd. Come on, Todd.
So I have no reason not to believe her. Moving on.
Okay, you gotta love YouTube says, I think she got mad at the other runner running so close to her and lost her temper.
I don't think that. I think You've Got to Love YouTube has a wild imagination. I think what she said was true. And if he's not there to prove it, then it's his word against hers. Moving on.
All right. I think that, it's really hard I don't understand how she said it got caught, but then she hit her multiple times. Now, if it got caught and she hit her once, like she said, I was running and the baton got caught round by her arm and, she swung once, fine. But she swung like 4 times.
Ma'am, I have barely heard you give your opinion on anybody's fight. Like opinions were going crazy last week about the white boys on the ice skates fight. You said nothing. Now, all of a sudden,
you always want to try to make something racial. This is not racial. It's the same race. These are the same levels. They're both in high school and they're running. I'm talking about what the young lady said and what the film showed the young lady doing. She isn't in a profession. She isn't insured as an employee. She's a runner for a school. Now, the victim's parents may sue the school and the school district and get a lot of money because the child did have a concussion and it was on video. But I don't understand how she could have lost it to that extent. And if she did, she's going to need some mental health.
There's been plenty of things on video. For example, George Floyd's death was on video. And you have people like Stephen and Keith saying, oh, no, he had an overdose. So that's your opinion.
Somebody told you to put your glasses on, Todd.
You got to love YouTube said, put your glasses on, Todd.
Look at this. He loves this.
The kids tease you.
Moving on.
So let me show it again.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
1, 2.
Hit another runner in the head with the
2.
Is speaking out.
I would never do that on purpose. That's not it.
Probably 2 times, yeah.
The incident is a complete misunderstanding, pointing to another angle of the race as proof.
The baton was literally like her arm was literally like this until she got a little ahead and my arm got stuck like this.
In the video, Everett is seen on the inside track running the 4x200 relay at the Virginia State High School League Championship. And junior Kaylin Tucker came around the outside on the corner.
That's when she hit me with the baton.
2.
I just felt a bang.
I don't think she hit her twice. What are you making stuff up for? The girl
dropping her
didn't say
baton
that.
and reaching for her head. She was later diagnosed with a concussion.
I think she tried to hit her twice, but it was only one.
Todd, notice that she hit her when she was still in her lane. So you gotta reach over. So when she came in front of her, she hit her again. But she hit her when she was in her own lane. And as she crossed in
How would
front
she
of her.
hit her in her own lane, Cousin Todd?
Well, when those white boys were fighting, it was 4 fights within the first 90 seconds. Did you say?
You can't use that. You can't use that. You can't use that.
Okay.
They are in a profession. This is what they do. Everyone knows hockey players fight.
Everyone knows.
Can she be criminally charged?
What's wrong with you?
Can she be criminally charged?
Okay, let me say this. Let me say this. What a white cop out you're using. Everybody knows that hockey players fight. What?
Do you have to make it a race issue?
That's an excuse.
That's what the racists do. Racist people do stuff like this.
Hey, I'm talking.
I know.
Greg, everyone else.
Let the racists talk.
Greg, if you want to say something.
So,
Todd, did you meet Greg? This is Aguna's brother-in-law. He sent him because his daughter's in her first soccer game tonight. This is Aguna's wife's brother.
How you doing, man?
We love his wife Janet better than we love Aguna.
Okay. You sound like a Republican to me.
Oh, wow.
No.
I'm making a joke.
You just have to disagree with him once and you're already a Trump supporter.
See, Greg, he wants to see where you stand, Greg. That's all.
No.
Thank God you're not white. Thank God you're not white. He'd be all over you.
Yeah,
white on right.
So, when y'all said George Floyd died,
beard. You got a good beard going.
Yeah, I'm trying this my starter kit.
Now, what did he say about George Floyd? He said, "What did
Oh, I said
Greg?"
once y'all said that he died of an overdose, I knew I shouldn't be up around, and yeah, I need to be with Mr. Todd because I don't believe that it was an overdose.
Well, that's what
Thank
the
you.
coroner said, and
But
that's what the
now,
facts are, and that's what science says. So you can
The
believe what
science
you
don't
want. I don't believe
science don't
anything
say. I
because
know what I
beliefs are
saw.
shortcuts into thinking. I
I know
know
what I
things. I
saw.
don't believe anything. I know things.
Yeah, I
yeah,
know what I saw. I know
You
what
know
I
what you
saw.
saw. You know
absolutely.
what they showed you, and that's what
Yeah,
the media does.
They showed
yeah,
you. Ain't he crazy? This is
right.
why you
Yep.
can never side
Yep.
with the
They're
weirdos
talking
and
about
the
letting the
demons.
cop out now. They're talking about letting the cop out of prison.
And that's bait. That's clickbait. That's
No,
trying to
it's
get
not.
That's
people.
right.
Yes, it is.
And
That's.
what
And I'm
kind of
not
a
for it.
We'll see what
president?
happens.
What kind of a
Yeah,
president would do that?
yeah.
Would let
Everybody here could get on my back for an hour. I wouldn't die because I'm not on fentanyl and I'm not having an overdose. That's what it was.
but it's
He did
illegal
what
to
they
do
did to
that,
him.
you
Keith,
dumb
tell
black
me
loogie.
what they did to him
It's
was not enough to
illegal
kill
to
him,
do
was it?
that.
Nope.
Hey, dum dum. It's
They didn't cut
illegal
off his
to do
arteries.
that.
That's right.
Move on,
Okay,
Stacy,
let's
Okay.
move
because he's
on. I gotta move
psychotic. This
on.
is a Trump
We'll see.
supporter,
I'm a reality supporter.
a reality star supporter. You're right. He is a reality star.
No, he is.
Oh, look
That
at this.
wasn't a basketball player confronting me.
Mm.
That was a parent. That was a father.
The father, LeBron James, scolding ESPN's Stephen A. Smith during Thursday's Lakers game over recent comments about son Bronny's court performance.
I'm saying we all see what's happening with your son right now. It's kind of hard to watch.
Your own kids must be pretty proud of you.
That's something that I cherish every day.
He clearly took exception to some of the things that he heard me say, and he confronted me about it.
Stephen speaking out on First Take after a viral video captured their tense courtside showdown. LeBron's message, it appears the NBA champ says, "Keep my son out of this."
Can't repeat the words because they ain't suited for FCC airwaves. There was a quote that he gave in February of 2024. His son could play on the Lakers right now, and he was better than half the dudes in the NBA. And when he talked like that, and what have you, anything that goes awry as it pertains to his son, there's going to be a microscopic eye, even more intensified, on Bronny James because of his dad.
LeBron's played side by side with his 20-year-old son all season. Stephen stops short of apologizing for his Nepo baby commentary, calling it part of the job.
I never would speak negatively about your son. I was talking about
Calling
you,
him a Nepo
meaning you,
baby
LeBron James.
is talking negatively, you dumb idiot.
I have nothing but the best wishes for Bronny James. When you're raised as a journalist professionally, you don't want enemies, but you ain't paid to make friends.
Girl, bye.
Okay,
So,
Greg.
so
your
that means
time
he
is-
can't.
Let me have Greg on this.
Right.
Okay, so I've heard Stephen A. Smith make a lot of comments about his son and LeBron. As a father, and even Stephen A. said this too. He admitted this too, that he wouldn't be sure that if someone talked about his kids, that he wouldn't have done the same thing. I feel like LeBron just got caught up and he wanted to defend his son. I probably would have did it too if it got too much. And I think
Yeah.
Stephen A. always talk. He's
Goes too
always
far.
talking. Yeah, and I think he does go too far. And I think he hides behind the fact that I'm a journalist
Yeah.
and I'm doing my job.
Right,
And you
right.
can't say that all the time because sometimes what you're talking about has nothing to do with facts or anything.
Yeah.
It's your opinion,
Yeah.
and you're doing that, and you're going to cause some friction, and you got to expect that. So
Yeah.
that's why you walk around with bodyguards too. There's a lot of players in the NBA don't like Stephen A. Smith for that same reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Keith.
Well, if you can take the heat, get out of the kitchen. I mean, this is he's a public. This is a public entity here. I mean, a public. When you become part of the public, you become open to certain scrutiny, and he's sure whether he went too far or not. That's a matter of opinion. And again, as a father, LeBron was reacting as a father, not as a professional athlete. So I guess you can excuse it for that reason. because he wasn't. If he was acting as a professional athlete, he would have just said, "Oh, that's his opinion." But he's reacting as a father because something he didn't like what he said, and his son's just going to have to get used to it if that's where he
Right.
wants to be in the public sector. And by the way,
Very true.
black on black crime is quite. Todd, what do you think about that? It seems like
Well, okay, we're not going there. Don't start. We're running out of time already. Steven on LeBron.
What about white on white crime?
Yeah,
You wanna
I
talk
agree.
about
Go
that?
ahead and
Greg.
preach.
I agree. I agree. Whether
Then
I
why did
think
you say black on black crime if you agree, Tom?
well, because this is the second story that two blacks are having a little conflict here. The
Yeah, but
first
there were
story was the girls.
4 different fights from white boys last week, which you thought was perfectly fine.
Go ahead, Steven.
I think maybe this is my opinion. I think maybe LeBron may agree with Stephen A. And that's why he got so upset. If he thought it was absurd, it's like, oh, well, he's just running his mouth. That's what they do. But no, he got in his face. He got really angry, got upset because he probably knows it's true as well. He sees what everybody else sees. He sees the baton go upside the back of somebody's head. I think that's what it is. And I think another thing, it may not have anything to do with it, but all of a sudden in the last, I don't know, month or so, Stephen A has walked away from that side of the ESPN. Everybody's got to think alike. Everybody's got to be alike. Everybody's got to walk the same. And he's been going anti everything that LeBron believes, it seems like. I think that is digging at LeBron more than anything he said about his son. And I think that's what he's taking it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good, man. That's
Steven,
good.
Just my opinion.
They're going against.
Justin Todd.
Look at this nut job. You know,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I know
Oh,
you do.
Stephen
You're
Ray.
embarrassing. So this is the thing. He doesn't know how he got his job. Nepotism is what he was saying. That's what LeBron didn't like. How dare you coon, talk about nepotism in relation with his son?
You
Don't
calling a
do
black
that.
man names. You're attacking a black man.
Hey, shut up, Tom. No, so he doesn't know how he got his job. He got his job from working hard. So to say it was nepotism is offensive. This nepotism is what Donald Trump does when he has his son working in the White House, when he has his daughter working in the White House, when he has his son-in-law working in the White House. That's called nepotism. But Stephen and Keith said nothing about that nepotism.
I mean, is this sports? Can he not participate in sports?
Who?
Todd. He's out of his wheel. This is not his wheelhouse. Todd, you're really great on other things.
Ma'am,
This is not where you should be.
Your
This is not where you
wheelhouse
should be.
is in a farm.
You can't even keep
somewhere.
anything on sports. It's got to be racism and everything else and other people that don't have anything to do with sports. It just should be left for people who know sports. Stacy, Keith, Greg, and myself should be here. You should be black screen until we tell you to come
know
on.
about is racist race car driving. That's the only
Right.
sport you know about.
Oh, Stacy, this past week we had a woman racing for the first time since Danica
Nobody's
Patrick. She was
interested.
from
We
England.
moved on,
She was about
white
44
boy.
years old. She was doing really well. And
We have
then she
moved
wrecked
past
and took a couple people out. But she did really well. We'll see what happens. I don't know if she's racing
We've
next week,
moved
but
past that.
it's nice to have different people in there.
So Chris C says, please on your screen. Chris C says, what race is Keith?
What race
He's
is
the
Keith?
human race. He's part of the human race. That's what race he is.
You can't tell what race he is.
Yeah, he's a human race, like
So
all of
my
them.
opinion.
He
So my
is
opinion.
Uncle Ruckus, and that race is coon.
That's the racist right there.
That race is coon.
There's your racist.
Field Negro.
This man ain't got nothing but racism. If he didn't have racists, he would just dry up.
So my
All you have is race. That's the only
LeBron
thing that gets you out of bed in the morning is your hate
I think it is
And my clothes.
first
and
off,
your beautiful clothes.
I think Stephen A is probably trying to get himself another deal for something to make millions of dollars. That's why he's kind of coming out of his stay safe and keep your head down lane. Because he wouldn't do anything like we do. And then I really honestly think how many 20-year-olds who play basketball would love to be in LeBron James Jr.'s position. I think a lot would. I think a lot would give him competition because there are plenty good basketball players out here, plenty. So I think that probably touched a little bit for his father, and especially like something like Keith said, had he been talking about any other player on that LA team, LA Lakers team, he wouldn't have said another word about it. He
No.
don't care about what Stephen A says about people playing, because
No,
he figures rightly so. Can I finish my point? He
but
figures
you're skipping over
LeBron.
what I said. Nepotism was the thing.
All right, LeBron James figures rightly so. Who cares what Stephen A has to say about a professional basketball player? Because Stephen A doesn't play professional basketball, and he doesn't, he's not in this game. He's not playing it. Who cares? But since he said that about his son, that really hit him.
Because he doesn't want him giving white people ammunition to go against his son, talking about nepotism, and which is what I've already told you. That was the thing that he didn't like. Now, what's the book? Kobe Bryant. He was a young player, and he wasn't the greatest. He got better and better and better. So this is nonsense. And I'm not going to comment anymore. And keep Stephen and Keith out of sports because they're demons.
I really don't feel that he was so into the his they talking about nepotism and him and his son. I think I think LeBron has earned the right to. You got fathers out here right now that can't get their son a job at Walmart. That man put in 20-something years, and he's earned the right that if that company looked at him and said, "Hey, you're a model teammate, you're a model athlete, and if you want your son to come here, we're gonna do that for you." And trust me, LA got a good bargain out of
You're
that
for
because
nepotism. You're for nepotism, Greg.
I'm not for nepotism, but it happens so much that I enjoy when it happens for us. I don't have a problem.
Oh, wonderful.
Because it normally doesn't happen for us. So when it does happen, I'm like, dang, it's just like the OJ case. It wasn't people wasn't clapping because we thought OJ was innocent. We were happy that he won a system that never catered to us.
Never.
We finally succeeded in a system that they put together.
Yes,
and that's what people don't understand. So I don't have a problem with nepotism. Like I said, you got fathers working at Walmart, and that manager would not hire their kids because he's looking at what this dude did. So if he got his son in the NBA, I don't have no problem with that. You can call it nepotism, whatever you want to call it. Congratulations.
That OJ story, I used to tell that same story that you just told, but it fell on deaf ears because I was talking to people like Keith and Stephen.
Well, that was certainly quite a fantastic feat to get your son in the NBA, especially LA. LA Lakers.
Yeah, they've got a lot of championships.
I wish my father could have got me on the team.
Hell, that's the case. They could have got me on the team.
Exactly.
Just for the record, I'm more for justice, no matter who it is or what.
Yeah.
I like to see justice, and I don't care
And that's
whether
a
you're black,
utopia.
white, or whatever.
Right. That's in a utopian society, and we don't have that. Right.
I know we don't.
When it gets to that point, then I'm right with you. But until it gets there, hey, I'm down for it.
That sounds fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to share my screen. NFL free agency. Please put your mute buttons on.
Flurry of activity as teams scramble to secure top talent ahead of the new league year. While big names like Chris Godwin, DJ Reed, Sam Darnold, and Justin Fields have already found new homes, several impact players remain on the market, offering teams opportunities to bolster their rosters. Among the most notable available is Stephon Diggs, whose production as a reliable number 2 receiver makes him an attractive option despite his age and recent ACL injury. Amari Cooper, another veteran wideout, brings sharp route running skills, though his lack of chemistry with Josh Allen in Buffalo raises questions about his fit elsewhere. On the defensive side, Justin Reed stands out as a dependable safety with a proven track record of consistency and tackling prowess. Aaron Rodgers, despite a disappointing stint with the Jets, showed flashes of his former self late in the 2024 season, making him a potential reclamation project for a team in need of quarterback stability. Meanwhile, DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen, though past their prime, remain productive options at wide receiver, offering veteran savvy and reliable hands. Edge rushers like Joey Bosa and Dante Fowler bring pass rushing expertise, though injury concerns and age may limit their market value. Russell Wilson, despite a lackluster season in Pittsburgh, could still serve as a capable starter for the right team, leveraging his deep ball accuracy and experience. Younger players like Aziz Ojulari and Asante Samuel Jr. offer upside, though they'll need to prove they can develop into consistent contributors. In the trenches, Cam Robinson and Tevin Jenkins provide stability at tackle and guard, respectively, while Mekhi Becton's resurgence at guard with the Eagles makes him an intriguing option. On defense, Levi Onwuzurike and Zadarius Smith offer pass rushing depth, and Kazir White's tackling ability makes him a valuable addition to any linebacker core. As teams continue to navigate free agency, the remaining players present opportunities to address key needs and add depth.
All right, I'm going to stop there and I'm going to start because this is what I believe. I am an Eagles through and through. I don't know what Aguna sent us all up in here, and Greg, he better be an Eagles fan. But I'm an Eagles fan through and through. And we had this problem when we first won the NFL championship. As soon as we won, our offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinators both left. We lost key players left. And that destabilized our team and made it hard for us to go for another run towards the Super Bowl the next year. My belief is that anyone who signs a contract with an NFL team should, if they go to the contract should say, if they end up going to the Super Bowl that year, the coaches and the players, pending or considering injuries, must stay with the Eagles for the next 2 years or forfeit their money. Now, let me go to Stephen. Do I want to go to Stephen with that? Stephen, you want to go next or you want Greg in there?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm a fan of, I don't want to say it because I don't want to offend Stacy, but I've got some information. This is breaking news. We may see Aaron Rodgers with Minnesota, and he'll follow the exact steps of Brett Favre, which would be interesting. And they have great receivers in Minnesota. I think that would be really interesting. Really, really good move for him because he, like they just said, at the last part of the year, he started to come up. I think his injury hurt him at the beginning of the year. Takes a while to get, even as you're older, it takes a little while to get over things. But that could be really interesting with Justin Jefferson. That might be a nice combination. And then I don't remember that guy's name. The best player for Cleveland, the defensive guy. You remember his name? I can't think right off the top of my head. But anyway, he's the best defensive lineman they have. He just re-signed for like $1 billion to stay at Cleveland. I would have taken any amount of money. See, we were trying to get him at the Redskins. I would have taken any amount of money to go to a team that's on the up, that's got a chance. Cleveland has no chance to do anything. And he said before, there's no reason in the world why I would stay at a team that has no chance to get a championship. And so I was really hoping we were going to get him, but we didn't. Garrett Miles. So we're not going to get him now. I just think it's a real chump move, and money is not as important because he's got plenty of money. I don't think it's as important as having your championships and you got excitement. You got a chance to do a lot more than you do at Cleveland. Cleveland's just a hole that'll never get filled as far as I'm concerned. So I feel kind of bad that he chose that way. Yeah. And Stacey, I'm sorry. Are you saying there's a chance that they're going to make a rule like that? Have you heard anything about that? Where they're going to?
No, I'm coming out with it first.
Okay, wishful. Yeah.
Everyone knows that the rule and the idea came from me.
Right.
For the NFL teams instituted because we have lost. As soon as the Super Bowl was over, we had the Eagles had our offensive coordinator. He went down to New Orleans to become their coach. You know, the
Right.
Super Bowl wasn't even over. I mean, he had to literally fly back into Philadelphia for the parade because he was in New Orleans, getting set up. You know, and it's that type of madness that breaks up the monotony. I mean, that breaks up the continuity, not monotony. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Breaks up the
The continuity.
continuity of a team and the players. Now, we know the players may switch out, but when you have the offensive line that the Eagles does, when you have the defensive line that the Eagle does with that fantastic defensive coordinator we had this past season, you don't want to break that up to the point that they can't recover and they can't get back in step for the next season. Because what happens to a Super Bowl team? Every team guns for you every game. Every
Right.
team you say says, "Oh, I can beat this Super Bowl winning team. They're not
Yeah.
that good." So they're going to come after us every game. So we have to have our T's crossed and our I's dotted. And you can't do that if you're in a rebuilding phase. So you have to have that continuity. They should have signed that type of contract. Go somewhere else too. People are so busy trying to make money and do better than they did, I guess, years prior. And I get it, but wait a year. So go ahead, Greg.
Right.
I'm sorry I held you up. I know you want to say something about this.
Oh yeah, I was just saying. I was just thinking. That's why it's so hard to get a dynasty because of that money. Because, like you said, you win a Super Bowl. First thing everybody wants to do is take your coaches away. Then they want to take all your good players, and those players, what they're looking at, I think most NFL players, their dream is to win a Super Bowl. Now, once you get that ring, now it's about the money. And just like with the guy from Cleveland, it's hard to get to the Super Bowl anyway. And I know he's
Yeah.
thinking that. And then when they put all that money, because like Steven said, they gave him a boatload of money.
Yeah.
He's the highest paid player other than a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I know he was like, man, I'd rather take my
Yeah,
chances and get this $40-50 million a
right,
year than to try to chase and get a Super Bowl.
right.
So
Because I'm gonna be all right. My family's gonna be all right,
yeah,
and a Super Bowl I can go watch them. I have enough money to go watch.
exactly.
Bowl.
I didn't have one yesterday. So
So all
tomorrow
right,
ain't gonna be no difference, and I got 40 million a year coming to me for the next 4 years.
right.
So yeah, you good.
That's generational wealth that I can
Yeah,
continue to build.
exactly.
Super Bowl, no Super Bowl, don't
Yeah,
matter. I'm for that.
that's a
And that's what
sacrifice.
happens. I truly believe that's what happens. And you heard it here first on Sporlitiks, since where sports and politics mix and mingle. Since 2011, we've been doing this. We've been ahead of our time with ideas and concepts, and we're ahead of our time with this.
Only in America, Todd.
And people
Only
try
in
to copy and steal it. And y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
Only in
heard.
America,
Well,
Todd.
I think talking about the
Oh gosh,
Eagles,
we have to move on. Sorry.
talking about the Eagles, I think once they hire Charles Barkley back, then they'll be able to win another World Series. America first.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to go to Russia and
Here's my man.
President Putin will agree to that also.
Yeah. All right.
Mm.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation.
I will talk to my Russian counterpart in the coming days. Secretary Rubio will be with G7 foreign ministers in the next couple of days. We have the NATO Secretary General in the White House on Thursday, and we'll take the process forward from there. So, as a result of that, and I think as a result of this positive step forward, the president has decided to lift the pause on aid and on our security assistance to Ukraine going forward, and that's effective immediately.
The goal here is the only way out to end this war is to negotiate out of it. There's no military solution to this war. The solution to this war and the way to end it and to achieve the president's objective of peace is to negotiate. But before you can negotiate, you have to stop shooting at each other. And that's what the president has wanted to see. And that's the commitment we got today from the Ukrainian side, their willingness to do that. Obviously, now that'll be delivered to the Russians. It'll be delivered to them directly through multiple channels, meaning not only will they obviously see it, but it'll be communicated to them through our diplomatic channels, conversations, and other methods. But they'll obviously be well aware. And our hope is that the Russians will say yes, that they will also agree. So the shooting will stop, the killing will stop, the dying will stop, and the talks can begin about how to end this war permanently in a way that's acceptable and enduring for both sides.
You know, what's amazing to me is, and Marco Rubio is only talking to the dumb and ignorant people. He's not talking to intelligent people, because intelligent people recognize that he's saying the opposite of what he used to say. Now, for example, he just said, we want to talk to Ukraine first and get them to stop shooting. Now, any intelligent person, and this is what Keith used to say, they're coming in my house. I have a right to protect my house. He's not saying that now. These people have been invaded, and you're telling them to stop shooting first before you tell the invaders to stop? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And America, and they don't know this yet, until America is like Rome. Remember, Rome was the biggest thing that ever happened to the world? And then they fell. They crumbled because of craziness like this. And when Ukraine was invaded by Putin, Putin and the United States separately said, listen, if you don't build your nuclear weapons, we will protect you. This is what they said to Ukraine, America. Mm-hmm. If you don't build these nuclear weapons, we will protect you. And then Russia said, and we'll protect you too. Yeah, don't build it.
We said if you get rid of them, not if you don't.
You're right.
No, if they continue, no, they were continuing to build nuclear weapons. Nobody just makes one. This is, they told India the same thing, and India said, oh no, we're going to make our nuclear weapons.
That's because they had Pakistan, and Pakistan had one themselves, and they had to defend themselves against Pakistan.
Exactly. Look at Russia. So anyway, Ukraine said, okay, America, we'll get rid of them. We won't build anymore. And then what happened? Russia invaded them after telling them they would protect them. And what did America do? Sorry, psych. So that makes the world look at America like pigs. Nobody trusts Americans anymore.
So Cousin Todd, you're comparing America to Rome before Rome fell?
Okay, yes, that's one of the things I said. But the other thing I was just saying is America didn't keep its word, and the world saw that. And so now the world is looking at America like, you said that was your friend, and you're turning your back on them. They could have went ahead and built nuclear weapons and been prepared for Russia. Now you're turning your back on them, and you're also turning your back on Canada, your neighbor. And you're also turning your back on all of your friends.
Okay,
for what?
Stephen, let me go to Greg.
To what end and to what gain? What do you stand to gain from this? Okay. All this betrayal?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I am disappointed in Rubio. Rubio did change. He was talking about how we need to protect
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, he's on the bandwagon. Like all of them do. They some kind of way Trump put the spell on them, and it's just,
well, they licking behind him.
And, right, and it's not. I don't know. It's sad because America is. And this is part of the Project 2025 that they denied.
It's all in there. It's all in there, yes.
But and I think a lot of people who were Trumpers didn't read it, and they took Trump's word for it that, I don't know what I don't know what they're talking about or whatever. Mm-hmm. But nobody makes a 900-page plan for nothing.
That's right.
And I just feel America, we're not looking good right now with the unnecessary trade wars with our allies. It's just
with the world, with the whole world.
Because the Europe even said, like, you know what, we can't depend on America no more. So we gotta step up on our own and
get some new friends.
Yeah.
And they're gonna turn against Americans. But dumb people don't realize the world will turn on you.
Yeah.
Well, we're big enough to fight the whole world. Okay, dumb
And you're
dumb.
not.
None of what you're
No.
saying is true.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, and then Keith.
Part of that deal that Todd was talking about, and it is a deal for Russia as well. They said that Russia doesn't have to worry about NATO moving east towards them because they were worried about NATO. They'd be encroaching. It would never happen. But for
Who was
years, they
worried about
encroached.
NATO?
So what?
Who was worried about NATO?
Russia.
Yeah,
Russia was worried about NATO.
Right.
So, and Biden had said that possibly Ukraine can become a member of NATO. That's the last straw. Nobody wants to go to war. Russia didn't want to go to war. Russia didn't go to
NATO
war
has
when
nothing
Trump.
to do with
I didn't talk
Ukraine.
when you. I didn't talk
Israel-
when you were telling all your garbage. So listen to me. What they did was they said they're not going to encroach on Russia with NATO, but they did, and Biden said, "Well, Ukraine maybe we're thinking about it." Well, that's what Russia didn't want to hear. And then Biden said out of his own mouth, "Well, if Russia invades just a little bit, we're okay with that," because Biden, the deep state, the war machine, wanted the war, so they encouraged the war. Of course, Russia invaded them, but
Why?
we supported.
Why did they invade them?
Because one reason was the president of the United States said, if you invade a little bit, that's okay. That's what Biden said. That's what he said. And now for 4 years, they didn't try to stop the war. All they did was give billions of our dollars to Ukraine. And in other ways, they supported Russia, the war machine, to keep the war going. 1 million people have died. Nobody tried to stop the war. And Trump comes in here in the first few weeks, and he's this close to stopping the war. But he's the bad guy. Trump's the bad guy for trying to stop a war and the war in Israel. And none of these wars would have happened if Trump hadn't gotten his election stolen in 2020. But it's a good thing he did for us, but not for people around the world we have 2 wars because of the Biden administration, because they want war. Donald Trump is anti-war, just like John Kennedy. They had to take John Kennedy out. That's why they tried to take Trump out, because he's anti-war. The war machine is super powerful. That's a super powerful administration. Right.
Thank you.
Everything
Keith,
you said, Todd, was halfway.
I'm
please
just
put
glad.
your mute button on.
I'm just glad that I'm glad that Trump is doing what he's doing with the United States. He's going to bring us back to number one. We need to come back. We need to be a strong country again. We need to be great again. And here's my evidence of that.
When were we great? What year was that we were great?
Scriptures. We were great nation.
When?
And I go,
What was the date?
Keith, I'm not gonna let you do that. Keith, you cannot pull out no scripture. And if you haven't read, you did, because all these Christian nationals, if you haven't read about following Christ and all the things that Christ does, and Trump is doing none of that, and you pull out a scripture, that's blasphemy, man. That's blasphemy.
Trump is stopping the war. 1 million people have died. 1 million people have died. He's going to stop the war. What do you want? 1 million more people to die?
Free speech to bring out a scripture. And that is in Deuteronomy. He talked about because of our obedience to the Lord. And we have been an obedient nation. Trump's policies are obedient to the word of God. And if you don't know that, it's because you don't know the scriptures.
Well, I know the scripture. I know Proverbs say that
and
you argue
the
with
scriptures
fools.
say, if we be obedient to the Lord, our God, he said that he will keep a contract with the contract with God. And that is a covenant, a contract with God. And we have a contract. It's called the Declaration of Independence. And it's the Constitution.
Oh my God.
So these are documents that are based on scripture.
Oh my God.
And that is why this
You
nation
understand this
will
blasphemy,
not
right?
fall. This nation will not fail as long as we uphold it. And the Christians will uphold it. I will uphold it. And I know God hears my prayers.
So
So
someone
there you
said,
go. Yeah.
So Chris C made a comment. Is Keith playing a character? Is he for real?
He's for real.
He's for real.
Yes.
He's for real. Just ignorant people don't understand. Ignorant people don't understand, Keith.
And then you gotta love YouTube said Trump's policies have nothing to do with God.
Nothing.
Yes. Yes, they do.
I was texting. I was texting today.
Have to do with it
it talks about
his policies.
It talks about taking care of the least among us.
Independence.
Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
We are an independent nation
today.
And that's why his policies do reflect. They are independent. This nation is an independent nation based on the Constitution.
This is what I just texted. If you can read that.
Yeah.
And demonic Christians idea of Trump being the chosen one.
Yeah.
And my sister
It
said,
said in the last
That's
days,
why
it's
we
gonna come
won.
somebody
yes,
that's gonna fool the churches and everybody. It
That's
said
why
that's
that
we
in the
right.
Bible
won.
too,
But they
and
That's
that's what's
why we won,
happening.
Greg. That's why
You
we
know,
they
won.
make
that's
and
exactly why you want. Because you know
That's
what's
right.
here's the thing. I
Because
always
y'all are
and
evil
I'm
on your side.
no, and
Wait
it's
a
not
minute, we're
about
almost out of time. Go
evil.
ahead, Greg.
It's not about being evil on the side or whatever.
no,
Everybody has sinned and fallen short.
absolutely.
But here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
If you remember the whole thing with Jesus being crucified,
Yes.
do you understand how those two guys went around and convinced the whole city
Uh-huh.
that Jesus was wrong. He was evil. This man did
Yeah,
nothing to
like the
nobody.
media does today.
Yes.
Same thing. What they're doing to Trump.
No.
Same
Can
thing.
you
Yeah.
imagine? Can you
Very good,
imagine?
Greg.
And when they realized, when all those people realized that they did the wrong thing after they crucified him in the
Yes,
earthquake and everything, that's when they woke up. And that's when you Trumpers gonna wake up.
that's
You're
right.
gonna see
Oh,
that
But
y'all worshiping a man.
Greg, you
And
made the
We
point.
don't we
who's
don't
never
worship
even
That's
been
Donald
to
Trump.
okay.
church.
We don't
Thank
worship
you.
okay,
Donald
Thank you.
They
Trump.
worship
you
Trump.
We
did
worship
right.
Jesus
He's
Christ.
the
Y'all
You're
worship
not. You
new.
don't
Satan.
care about the Constitution because if you did,
We
you would
care
see
about the
that
Constitution.
you
No,
can't when you got
he
somebody
said,
trying to
let's
tear
throw
down
it
the
out.
Constitution. You got somebody
Trump
trying
You
to
said,
take
let's
away
throw
the
it
you
out.
believe what
Constitution.
your government-run media tells you. You don't actually know what's going on.
No, Trump said it
We
himself.
following. We
Okay,
gonna
it
read
says,
line for line, and then you see that Trump is taking all that stuff away. Even with the First Amendment that y'all so brag
we're
on
getting
about the
ready,
First
we're,
Amendment,
we're getting ready
and
to
then
talk
you
about it.
and when somebody says anything against him, what does he do? They got to go to jail. He got to shut them up. He got to get them back. I
What
thought
are
it
you
was free
talking
speech.
about? Who did he put in jail?
Well,
He's trying
speaking
to
of
he's trying
that,
to get that dude deported.
Yeah, he
speaking of
should be
that,
And he's
deported.
Yes.
Yeah, he should be
Yes.
deported
Why should
Yes.
he be
speaking of that,
deported?
because
He's a
Okay.
he's with
terrorist.
Hamas.
Greg,
Because
He's
he's with
working with
He's
Hamas.
Hamas.
not
He's a
with Hamas.
terrorist.
You're sick.
He's a terrorist.
Shut
Thank
up.
you, Stephen.
So why don't
We
they
got
pick
it,
up the
Stephen.
Proud Boys?
By
Why
ICE.
don't
The
they pick
Proud
up the
Boys are
Proud
not
On the
Boys?
heels
terrorists.
of President Trump announcing the university will be stripped of federal funds. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon has the latest from Morningside Heights. Sonia.
Beating Jews'
Shut
asses.
up.
Sonia,
Shut
an
up.
That's what
attorney
you're
for
for.
Mahmoud
Shut up.
Khalil says even
Shut up,
though
boy.
he holds a green card, ICE agents came and detained him last night, claiming that his student visa was being revoked. Well, his attorney says he doesn't have a student visa. He is married to a U.S. citizen
That
who
was a
also happens to
lie.
be 8 months pregnant, and now she doesn't know where he's being held, and ICE won't
Ah,
tell her. Mahmoud Khalil spoke with
ah.
ABC News during protests here at Columbia University last year, and you're looking at video from those protests. Khalil, who is Palestinian, was a student negotiator when there were tents on campus. Now, he graduated in December but still lives in the neighborhood. He was arrested at his home, according to his attorney, who says agents claim to be following a State Department order. That attorney, Amy
Deport.
Greer, says ICE's
Deport.
arrest and detention of Mahmoud follows the U.S. government's open repression
Deport.
of student activism and
He's out of
political
here.
speech, specifically targeting students at Columbia University for criticism of Israel's assault on Gaza.
He's
Now,
out of
State
here.
Assembly member Emily Gallagher added in a social media post, "You can't detain someone and revoke their legal status because you don't like their speech. That's not my opinion. It's central to the rule of law." And the New York Immigration Coalition says if someone with a green card is suspected of committing a crime, well, they'd have to be arrested for that first.
No.
ICE agents or Department of Homeland Security, they actually can't revoke anyone's
This is the law,
green card.
dum
They
dum.
You have
can.
to go through
You don't know the law.
process, and that means that an immigration judge would have to revoke it, not an agent who's walking in the street haphazardly looking for anyone who may fit a profile that they're looking for and say, you know what, I'm gonna revoke your visa. That's not how this works.
God.
Watch.
These people are so dumb and
Said he
ignorant.
wants to have
You are.
students deported
I know.
and detained if they're seen as agitators in campus protests. And
Agitators.
advocates say this is a very dangerous policy. He
Terrorizers.
also announced Friday that it is cutting $400 million in grants and contracts for Columbia University because of what it says was its failure to thwart anti-Semitism on campus. We're live outside Columbia in Morningside Heights.
You call us Nazis, but your people are doing exactly what the Nazis did. Y'all are the Nazis.
In your estimation, what crime did Mahmoud Khalil commit to warrant his arrest, detention, and the potential revocation of his green card?
Let me tell you something. I went face down the angry mob at Columbia at the height of that stuff. When the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas protesters were there. I'm telling you, this is my own observation, not something I read in the newspaper. It was dangerous. I met with Jewish students before we went to campus who were pulled away off campus because they were instructed by the administration not to come to class, which they paid for fear of their physical safety. The administrators there refused to take control of that campus. They refused to allow the PD to come, the police department to come in and take control, and it turned into a chaos. The president has since been removed, and now we have the same problem again. Columbia and other universities, they have to keep control of campus. The first responsibility of an administration is ensuring the safety of the students who are paying tuition to be there. For crying out loud. This madness has to stop. We have to get control of it. This guy apparently was a mastermind of those very things, with the gnashing of teeth and the ripping of clothes and the people screaming at me.
Mastermind.
Limb from limb, because I was there talking about moral clarity and how there's a right and a wrong. They were doing that. They disrupted the campus. They were threatening physical violence to the fellow students. If you're on a student visa, let's say this clearly. If you were on a student visa and
you're evil,
and you're an aspiring young terrorist who wants to prey upon your Jewish
Young
classmates,
terrorist.
you're going home. We're going to
You're
arrest
evil.
your
Right.
He's not on a student visa.
We're going to send you home where you belong. And this is just getting started.
Look at these
look,
demons. These are white
I
devils.
appreciate free speech. I used to defend it in court, but this is far beyond the pale of that. When you were threatening your classmates and spewing anti-Semitism and all this
That's
hate,
right.
It's
What if it was the KKK doing against black people? Y'all be pissed off.
Yeah. Thank you,
And you would,
David. Yeah.
and you would probably be cheering for the KKK, and that's
No,
my
we would
problem.
not, because the KKK has always been your side. Your side is the one who
right.
terrorizes people.
Democrat.
BLM,
Democrat.
Antifa, KKK, the
Democrat.
Palestinian people,
Yes.
all y'all. What you're doing with Tesla,
And
you're
this, do you
terrorizing
see
those
that
people
coon?
now.
Do
That's
you
all
see
your
that
side does.
coon?
We don't terrorize nobody.
No,
We believe in
well,
peace.
first of all,
you
calm
We
talked
believe
down.
in
long enough.
peace.
Calm down.
No, it's time for him to go
Calm
No,
crazy.
y'all are
He
the
doesn't
terrorists.
leave.
Y'all are the
Calm
bad
down.
guys.
Calm down. Calm down. Don't
You
have
call
no
us
stroke.
Nazis. They're terrorizing
Yeah,
Jews in the
let him
United
have the
States.
stroke.
I didn't hear
You
nobody
are
say Nazi.
evil.
I didn't hear
You're
nobody
Your
say
side is
Nazi.
evil.
No,
You should be ashamed of
That's
yourselves.
all he said.
Listen.
That's a lie.
I'm
That's
ashamed
a
of
lie.
you, Greg. I don't even know you.
You're
All right,
evil.
thank you.
Don't be
Stop,
ashamed of me.
stop,
Calm down.
stop,
I
stop.
never called you a Nazi.
Okay, stop. We're gonna stop. Please stop.
I'm calling you a Nazi if you support the Nazi.
Stop. 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 Now, this is our roundtable. We're out of time. We couldn't go over the things we need to go over. We're going to start with Keith, Stephen, Greg, and then Cousin Todd on his First Amendment rights being infringed upon because he is a green card holder married to an American citizen.
Well, Stephen has already taken his turn.
Well,
No, I had not.
You just heard you heard Johnson talking about how this guy, all the things he was doing to side with Hamas, to side with terrorism. He terrorized the students of the school. You cannot do that. You can't do that as a citizen, let alone
How did
a
he
person with a
terrorize
green
them?
card.
How
And
did
he
he
does have a
terrorize
green
them?
card.
Stop, Todd.
So
Stop asking him anything. This is his roundtable. Let him say what he's. What are you trying to do, Cousin Todd?
Make him look stupid.
you know what
That's
he's
all.
trying to do. Todd, you know, you're not reasonable anyway. The point is, he was terrorizing students. He was he was a part of that. He was a part of it, and everyone else that is there, that is like him, should be transported out of here because they cannot do that. You can't do that as a citizen. So, whoa, let me just say this: it's 8 U.S. Code 1104. Write this down if you guys are out there and you want to seek the truth. U.S. Code 8 U.S. Code 1104. That is the U.S. Code. The Secretary of State, he has the authority. He has the authority
Thank
to
you.
transport. Get the guy out. So.
Yeah, and Todd's right. I've said everything about what I want to say, but the First Amendment covers American citizens. It doesn't cover him. And what he did was wrong. What's been going on is wrong in these colleges that had brainwashed everybody, the professors and everybody else. This has got to stop. It's got to stop now. Because if it was black people being treated that way, I'd be just as pissed. I don't think anybody should be treated that way, being terrorized. But for some reason, the left thinks it's okay to terrorize people because they are under the grips of Satan. These people, if they can't find Jesus or whoever, their God, if they can't find God, then they need to crawl back up Satan's ass because we're sick of it. This is a great country. It's always been a great country, but we've had evil people like the KKK and BLM and Antifa and the people now that are doing the terrorizing in this country and other places. We don't need that in this country. We're good people. We've done a lot of good things for decades and decades to help other countries out. If we get the scum out of here, we're gonna be a lot better. We can get along as people. We can all get along and bear by life. Right? Nobody should be treated the way they're being treated. And for you to support them is horrific.
Okay, so me, as how I feel, I don't support Hamas. They
Nobody does.
right. Nobody does. I do support the Palestinians because they're being held. That's apartheid over there. What Israel is doing to them, and we're not acknowledging that. We can't just keep lumping the Palestinians with Hamas. It's separate. Like Stephen, I don't lump you in with KKK.
They're the same. Palestine and Hamas, they're the same. They're one and the same.
Okay, Stephen, let him do his roundtable, please.
And that boy they want to kick out, he's with Hamas. So you do support Hamas if you want him to stay here. I'll shut up.
Thank you. Whew. That's what I'm talking about right there. But that's what I'm talking about right there. My thing is, I don't support them being violent. If he was violent or whatever, then he got to suffer the same consequences that the laws are set up to suffer. But if they were doing a peaceful protest, if it's peaceful, I don't have no problem with it. Because that's first. Because we got to sit there. I was in the military, and I had to sit there and protect KKK walking up through the black neighborhoods. That's just what we do, and I'm protecting some people that's walking up there that want me dead.
That's right.
So don't come to my face and telling me about how I feel. I'm telling you how I feel as a black man. So Stephen, I appreciate you. I hear your point. I have no animosity against you. Oh, he's gone?
No, he just got himself on black. He blacks himself out because he's busy drinking.
I had to go blow my nose.
Oh, okay.
I got a little bit of a cold.
Oh, okay. But
Thank you.
I said, I don't lump you in with them until you show me.
Right. And if I supported one of them, you'd say you must be like the KKK. So if you support a terrorist loving guy like they want to kick out of the country, then I will put you with Hamas.
Hey, do you want me to go across your face?
Yes. And then my ass. But we'll talk about it offline. We'll talk about that offline.
Todd is violent. Todd,
I need a spanking, Todd.
Hey, Todd, you just don't argue with them, man. Let them get hyped up and all that, rump their blood pressure. You say what you got to say and move on. I'm not going to argue with him.
No, my blood pressure is good. I took my medicine, so I'm good.
If he wants somebody to rub on his ass, that's on him. I'm not going to do it.
I'm not doing it either. Keith will do it.
Keith won't do it, but I know you will, Todd.
Okay, cousin Todd, that was a good laugh. Okay.
Now, he made me lose my train of thought.
I guess he
did. Well, this is the thing. They're throwing this guy out of the country, and that's not following the Constitution. He's not here on some student visa. That's just what they make up for dumb people, only for dumb people. Everybody knows he's married to an American. So he's an American citizen now. But and now all of a sudden he's a green card holder from the college student. Anyway, he's not. And what he was doing was peacefully protesting. There's video clips of him peacefully protesting. At least I saw 4 of them. So he's not. He was so violent. That's nonsense. And this is exactly what they did to Martin Luther King. Oh, he's violent. He's horrible. And so they'll show other people stealing and looting stores and blame it on him. Anyway, they have no business. But Donald Trump has made America
great again.
We didn't talk about what he's doing to the veterans. He hates these veterans. and he's
Hates them.
taken their jobs, 80,000 jobs, and half of them are veterans jobs.
How do you know?
Because
Fair
they,
enough.
I'm glad you asked that, dum-dum. I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
I want to say, Chris C said, Keith, bless your heart. Chris
Bless
C
you
said,
too.
what set Stephen off?
Oh, it's just that time, you know.
And then Chris C said, this show is funny.
That's good.
All
Very
right.
good.
Thank you to our first
Gotta have a
responders
sense
in
of
our
humor.
communities. You make our lives livable. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do and sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose to say on this show with our First Amendment rights. We are forever grateful. On behalf of Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, Greg, thank you for coming on, Janet's brother, and my cousin Todd.
All right.
I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to our channel at Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. Check us out on Twitch, X, Stephanie Stallworth, the Flow Television Network. Check us out on Instagram and on TikTok. And our address on TikTok is sporlitiks.com. We'll see you next week. We appreciate you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
It's good, Greg.
Yeah, Greg, you were good, man.
Thank you. That was fun.
I listen to these demons. Come on, you good? Yeah. Now, remember, Donald Trump said he's not touching Social Security. Remember, he kept lying and saying that.
No.
Well, he's touching Social Security. Surprise!
He's getting the fraud and waste out, so there would be Social Security down the road for us when we get there. He's cutting the fraud and waste out.
He's not cutting fraud and waste. He's going to cut it.
Yeah, he's never given me any indication he wants to hurt the American citizens. He's never done that for me.
Listen to me,
what?
dummy.
I'm gonna
He
say
wants
this.
to privatize.
What,
I'm
Greg?
gonna say this, cousin Todd. I'm gonna say this, cousin Todd.
Go
and
ahead.
This is. I really feel like this. I really feel like Donald Trump. He's not running. It's the people behind him that's actually running it. So when he says he don't want to cut Social Security, I believe him. I believe he don't want none of that to happen. But that he got to follow Project 2025.
No, the people behind him is us. We're the people behind him. He don't want to hurt us. We support him.
He hates poor people like you.
He doesn't hate anybody.
God.
And see, this right here is what they want us to do. They want us to think it's Republicans against Democrats. And it's not. It's not against the poor.
It's not. It's not that either. It's not that either. It's the deep state versus American citizens. It's the deep state. It always has been. That's why we don't have nothing.
Elon Musk.
It's a deep state. It's not. A lot of Republicans suck. Almost every Democrat sucks. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's the deep state that hurts us. That's who's been running the country for 4 years. It wasn't Joe Biden. He couldn't even pee. He couldn't even pee sitting down.
Take a breath.
Joe Biden couldn't do anything. He couldn't even pee sitting down. He wasn't the president. The deep state ran this country.
He did something because Trump inherited the best economy ever.
He did not. He had an economy where they were printing money,
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I don't argue with facts.
Real quick.
I don't argue with facts.
Why is the stock market tanking?
Daily.
Keith, and then Stephen, why is the stock market tanking?
Well, you know, let me put it to you this way.
Let me think what Fox News said.
When I was getting out of debt, my household, my wife and I, we had to cut corners. We had to stop spending. We had to suffer a little bit of hardship and stop spending before we could start saving.
But you didn't turn off all the
the country has to. The country will suffer a little bit, but that is a part of life.
Okay,
so you're gonna
loves
suffer.
dumb people like you.
Why is the market tanking every day?
because it's pure speculation is all it is. It's not based on reality. And they're worried, you know, we're worried here that it doesn't mean anything right now. It's a blip. It's a little blip. It's going to be fine. What he's trying to do is
401k dummy?
get it fair. He's trying to get things, he's trying to use tariffs to get things fair for us because the other countries are not treating us fair. We just want to even up with them. They don't want that. Everybody's been abusing us for years. And weak people, weak Republican presidents, weak Democrat presidents let this happen. Donald Trump's not a Democrat or a Republican. He's not going to let it happen. He's for making America great. He's trying to help all of us rise up.
Great.
Thank you,
And
Stephen, isn't it amazing that most
you gotta love YouTube says, and Tesla's tanking. Greg, why do you think the stock market over the last couple of days has tanked?
I think it's two reasons why I think it's happening. I know it's instability, like what Steven said, and speculation. But also, I'm telling you, it's between the rich and the poor. He knows that he affects this market. So when he goes in there and says something crazy, I'm gonna triple the tariffs. He know that market gonna drop. All his billionaire friends go up and buy all those stocks, and then he come back and say, "Okay, we good," and those stocks go up. Who made money? Not me or you.
Me,
we lose money.
Me.
Them billionaires do.
Okay,
no,
Cousin
not
Todd.
just billionaires. Anybody can see when.
Cousin Todd.
This is the thing that's happening. And Trump recognizes his dumb, but everybody is not as dumb as Stephen and Keith. People are catching on and saying, wait a minute, he said he wasn't going to touch Social Security. Now he's touching it. And then he's got his boy toy to do it. That's
how did he touch it, Todd?
He just said he's
going
going
to this doll and show me where he touched it.
Last night, what? Can you shut up? Elon Musk said they're going to cut Social Security and Medicaid. Now, let me say this to you, Stephen. Specifically,
no, they did not.
Then we're going, and then we're off the air. We're
That's not true, Todd.
Okay, never mind.
That's not true.
I can't deal with him. He's way too dumb. Not true. Not true. And Elon Musk said it.
So that's why you had to wait till it happens.
Yeah, he does. And this is why he gets off scot-free. You told me your sister was sick. And you said, I was talking about poor people. You said, oh, we're not poor. I said, anybody making under $100,000 a year is poor. And you were telling me about your sister was sick and stuff like that. I said, she's the one that needs help. Your father.
She got help. She got help.
Exactly. This is what.
Right. Nobody's going to lose their help.
Hey, shut up. This is what Elon Musk is cutting. Medicaid. The only people who are on Medicaid are children and sick people. He's
cutting the garbage out. He's cutting. There's people that are getting it that shouldn't get it. Okay. He's cutting out.
Stephen, why didn't he start with the DOD? If he wants to really get waste and fraud, why didn't he start with DOD? Because that's where he's getting a bunch of contracts.
They're doing that as well. You're right. They are. They're doing it. They've only been in there, 6 weeks? That's not very long. They're doing it piece by piece. They're cutting the fraud and the waste to have more money for
the start with the biggest first. Because the most money goes to DOD.
You may be right.
You gotta love YouTube said the tariff war is not working, Stephen. And then
it is.
Christy said, Keith, lots of laugh. And you gotta love Tube said met tariff. All right.
The tariff war is working and it's gonna work. Canada already said we give up.